Good morning, Morgan County. Woohoo! It's time for our Positive Podcast from the Morgan County Partnership with our hosts. I'm Mrs. Hott, Positive Actions and Digital Media Facilitator. Today's Positive Podcast is called Positive Actions for Intellectual Wellness, Boosting the Brain Using Memory.
Hi, hola, es hora de acción positiva. Hi, community. I am Mrs. Sheima, Morgan County Partnership Positive Actions and Digital Media Facilitator. Acciones positivas para bienestar intelectual. Activa tu cerebro usando la memoria.
That's so cool, Sheima. Whoa, the Morgan County Partnership joins you weekly for an exciting look at positive programs, news, and features to help build empathy, to foster core values, health, and family wellness in our homes, community, and around the world.
Whether you're 2 or 92, it's new Partnership Positive Podcast. We will feature fun and exciting information to help you manage and balance life here in Morgan County to West Virginia and beyond.
Hey, we are ready to discover each week new positive core values that help build a network of neighbors that work together in our community, helping each other get through another day with resources to connect with each other and meet our basic needs. Let's get started. All right, neighbors. Today's Positive Podcast is called Positive Actions for Intellectual Wellness, Boosting that Brain Using Memory. Thanks for listening. And also remember this, neighbors, if you want to watch our podcast and meet our special guest, you can also join us on the Positive Actions YouTube channel too. So today, Miss Sheima and I will be chatting about intellectual wellness. Miss Sheima, can you tell us a little bit about what intellectual wellness means?
For sure, intellectual wellness is healthy choices for healthy brains. For our students, we talk about these values: curiosity, creativity, knowledge, challenge, problem solving, memory. All are values that when you exercise help develop strong brains today in order to make healthy choices tomorrow, and for adults too.
Cool. And you know what, Sheima, in learning about intellectual wellness and the brain and boosting memory, I learned something new, that if you just squeeze, if you're trying to remember something, if you squeeze your hands, that does something with your muscles and it sends some sort of message to your brain, and whatever you're trying to think of is it's a way to exercise your brain just when you do this. Isn't that cool?
Uh-huh.
So let's take a look at exercises for our memory, okay? And today we're going to take a little trip on another kind of memory. We're going to go a little bit down memory lane today, right? And I'm excited to go down memory lane because, neighbors, we have a special friend joining us today. So for our brain, we're gonna bring back one of our community role models that we haven't seen for a very long time, like 2 months. All right, and that's 2 months too long. So for Positive Actions for Intellectual Wellness, today our role model is a person. I might have to do this so I can remember who it is. I haven't seen her in so long. Okay, what's her name? Oh, I know. Okay, neighbors, please welcome our super, super positive role model, Miss Nikki Cowles. Woo! Oh my goodness. See, I had to use my memory and remember who our guest was.
No, that's not okay.
Really? You know what? Sheima and Nikki, it's been 2 months since we've had you on the podcast.
That's too long.
2 months ago, the end of December, we did our gift podcast with our students at Berkeley Springs High School. And so, yeah, it's been 2 months since we get to have you back. And neighbors, remember Miss Nikki today. Miss Nikki, how about you tell everybody hi, what you're doing, and what you've been up to?
Well, thank you for having me. So happy to see you guys and be with you guys. I am, working from home today because, lots of snow, but currently I'm working at Blue Ridge Community Technical College. I started in January, and I am a student advisor for workforce training. Basically what that is Blue Ridge has several grants, and we can help people out there in the adult world kind of boost their intellectual wellness, if you will. If they are unemployed, looking to kind of upgrade, maybe they're a parent that's looking to get back into the workforce, or somebody that's in recovery, we've got funding and lots of programs to help get them certification and training and get them back out there in the workforce. So that's what I've been up to.
Well, that's cool. So neighbors, Miss Nikki mentioned for in recovery programs, and that's pretty cool. But before we go to our questions, let's talk a little bit about that, because I know the Morgan County Partnership as an organization, we have a lot of prevention programs and a lot of resources. And I know right now, guys, it's a tough time because the schools are fluid and we're rolling out these vaccines and trying to get our world started again. And it's hard, right? So if you're having recovery and addiction issues, and if there are some habits that are hard to break, the recovery programs are wonderful, and the partnership has social workers and people to talk to. And I feel like, in a way, like Miss Nikki is still part of our partnership family, but in sort of a different area, because now over at Blue Ridge, it's sort of like the next step, right, Nikki? Am I understanding it right?
Yeah, it is.
That's so cool. So if let's hear what Miss Nikki has to tell us more about these programs, because it starts with, these values that we talk about, Sheima and I, with 6 and 7 year olds, and they're valuable for adults, teenagers, high schoolers, moms, dads, because when we struggle, when we're stressed and have anxiety, we need to know that there's a Miss Nikki that can say, hey, I'm with you, and we're going to get you some places and back on your feet for recovery from alcohol addiction, anything with violence at home, anything like that. If you need some resources, there's some ways that we're here to help. And by the way, I'll add right here, if you're looking to find Miss Nikki, you can have to put this on our app so we know how to get you at Blue Ridge, because I don't have that.
Oh, well, we will make sure you have that.
Yeah. So what do you think, Miss Sheima?
Yeah.
Yeah. So neighbors, if you're looking for, maybe you've been struggling at home and the kids are about to go back to school, hopefully, right? But if it's time for you, if you're in your recovery plan and you're ready and you need help getting on your feet, we'll get Miss Nikki's contact information and make sure that Blue Ridge is on the partnership app. So if you're looking to find a job or take a class or training, Blue Ridge has lots of cool things.
They do have lots of really cool trainings out there. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, we can help get you signed up. And with the funding, it's through the Department of Labor, this grant that I'm working under, it will help cover your costs for the training. So we can get you signed up and certified to help get you in the workforce. And hopefully you meet as long as we meet the qualifications. But there's lots of other. It's not contingent on just this grant. We have lots of other options as well. But yeah, so don't let it costs too much be a barrier, because that's what we're here to help with.
So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people say, I'll never take a class, I can't afford it. So Are you saying that there are grants and ways, and that's what part of what you do with your new job?
Yes.
You help. That's so cool.
Yeah, we help find the funding sources and get people in and get them certified and trained, and then the end goal is to be employed.
Wow,
hopefully
that's awesome.
Something they enjoy doing. So.
Oh yeah, so there you go. And those something you enjoy doing, because you need to find value in your work, that your work is important, right? And sometimes when the world's crazy, the pandemic, the conflict, and all the things going on, sometimes you feel like, well, why even try, right?
Yeah.
But there's Miss Nikki at Blue Ridge now, who has resources, and if one of your obstacles is financing and money, I didn't know about this, Nikki, but there are ways to help pay for those classes. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's good to know. Learned something new today.
Yeah.
Well, let's have some questions for you, Miss Nikki.
Okay.
Tell us now, Miss Nikki is from our community. She's a Morgan County girl. And if you could share a little bit about your story, because it's a great story. I know it, but I thought, well, maybe here's an opportunity to to tell us your story, Nikki, about your path. I know many years ago you had a daycare, where you've been and where you are and where you're going.
Well, many years ago, I'll start with when I was in high school. I was not a very good student. I did not like school at all. I did not have the self-concept that I needed to help get through that. And so when I graduated from high school, I decided I was done. I did not want any more schooling. So I just went to work. And this is kind of neat. You know, Miss Bev Locke.
Yeah.
Miss Bev Locke, I don't know if she knows, but she kind of started things because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I worked in the nursery with Bev at church. And I remember Bev making this statement that you're really good with kids. You should work with kids. That was it. That's what started it all. I don't know if she knows that or not, but
I'm going to tell her.
I credit her all the time.
Aww.
So I got a job in some daycare centers, and then they started sending me to classes, and that was really cool because I was like, oh, I do that. I didn't know it was that important, but I do that. And then there was other things like, oh, I can't wait to try that. So I did some classes, and I always knew I wanted to have my own. And finally, we jumped in and built a building, and I had my own daycare center probably for about close to 15 years, I guess, here. So lots of Morgan County students and families, not just students, families, because I really got to know all the families, which was my favorite part of the job. And then from there, it was kind of time for something new. Then I started at the Morgan County Partnership, and I was there for like a dozen years. It was kind of cool because I was still working with a lot of the students I had in daycare, so I still got to see them. So that was nice, and still working with families and students. And now I like to say I've graduated to adults finally. I've worked my way up from infants to adulthood. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. So
you know what's kind of cool? You mentioned Miss Bev, and she just mentioned something to you, and it sort of opened a door to a skill in you that you didn't realize that you had. And for community, neighbors, family, if you're home right now struggling and thinking, I just don't know what to do, there's something, because every one of you, and we tell this to 6-year-olds, you're unique and wonderfully made. And Miss Bev saw that in Miss Nikki. She said, you're unique, Nikki. You've got this thing for kids. and how encouraging is that? So if you're wondering right now is like, where's my path? And you're feeling like you don't have anything. Each one of you have something. There's something that is special about you for this world, and this world, neighbors, is a cool place because you're here. And sometimes it just takes Miss Bev in the nursery saying, hey, you've got this. And you know what,
right.
if it's hard right now trying to figure out what this is, let's talk about it and let's chat, and because it's there. Sometimes we just need help figuring it out, and then we just, somebody opens the door crack, and that's all it needs, right? And that crack from
it's interesting, Angie.
Yeah.
All those years doing positive action, like I could see so many of the things that we talk about kind of in my story, like didn't even realize it at the time, but there is the one that stands out the most is probably goal setting. When we talk about setting our goals and things like that. And the hardest part of goal setting is getting to the point of doing it. Like you have everything lined up. And I was there for a while when I wanted to own my own daycare center, and I had it all laid out. I just hadn't jumped yet. I was at the point where it was time to just do it. And it took a little while before you got up enough courage and decided to make that jump. So it's very, very relevant.
What was it, 8 years ago or so, Nikki, that is in the summertime, my phone rang, and it was Miss Nikki saying, hey, you want to go to the intermediate school and teach a class called Positive Actions? And I'm like, what is this? But you bring up a good point. We began in 4th and 5th grade, and for a half hour a week. And then, but it's relevant values and sort of a guide for no matter how old you are, right? And we've sort of expanded this foundation because Sheima and I try really hard to let a little one know, because they might see conflict and have anxiety, but we want them to know there's someone here, we care, people care about you, you're special. But for a teenager or a young adult, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, where's my path? Where's my special skill? There's how can we connect as a partnership to those resources that say you're important, you're unique, and we've got people to help you figure it out, so because sometimes when you feel you hit that wall, then you start going, I'm worthless, I think I'm going to open up a bottle of liquor or whatever and make those negative choices. And then but before you do that, there are some answers, and there's some people here, and that's what's cool about Morgan County, isn't it?
It is.
And oh gosh, you know what? I was working on, because we're coming up on social and emotional wellness, and we're talking about kindness. And this little fella talks about kindness and hot dogs. And he says, it's just being kind. It's just our community is like a family. And really he compares it to our whole world. It's not just the people you see across your street, and you're helping, but the world's one family, and we're all living on one planet. So, kindness is such an important thing that when we share it, there's Miss Bev, and look what Nikki's doing now. I think that's cool. And here we are from 4th and 5th grade, and a few years later, Miss Sheima moved here from Spain, came to 4th and 5th grade with us, and then 3rd grade, then Widmeyer. And then this crazy COVID happened and we couldn't go to school. And now we have a platform K through 12. And I really feel like, as a partnership, it's neat to know that Miss Nikki's now at Blue Ridge and sort of helping people. Like you said, you grew up, right?
Yeah. I finally got promoted. Or graduated, I guess. I finally graduated to adults.
That's so cool. What questions do we have? Okay, I got a question for you. You talked a little bit about you didn't like high school, so you sort of got on the job and you got some of your training things. So some of the things that you did, you're able to do with Blue Ridge, like you're getting people certified as your work experience. That's pretty cool. Can I ask you this, because you've taught positive actions before? What positive actions help you, in this journey? What positive actions and positive values that we talk to with our kids do you actually use in, quote, the real world?
Oh, a lot of them.
See?
I can't think of one specific. I think I use at some point or the other all of them, really. My memory and intellectual wellness has really been challenged, as learning new things is hard. So these past 2 months, it's been a lot of brain power, learning lots of new things, in a new position, and just, oh my goodness, Angie, I think I use all of them throughout the day. And, when I'm talking to people and figuring things out and trying to help other people, I don't know. A positive action, I think you use all of them.
That's cool, because, so our neighbors, let me share this. We have the curriculum for positive action is based on 36 lessons, one per week of the school year, on 36 different value words. And we actually, through the Morgan County schools with kindergarten as well as pre-K, we have pre-K element with Mr. Dave over at Epic. And we feature, Martin's Moments, where we talk about the values. And I think starting to build on values and community values and thinking, a different way to think, like, all right, I'm struggling, I'm going to make a negative decision. But if I think I'm of value, I'm important, and there are people here who are going to help. My world isn't just what I see in my room, but I'm part of a bigger community. And that's what's going to help us. So all 36 of these values, they all come together and help us realize that, it's Morgan County and beyond. Really, I'm pretty intentional each week when I want to say, from Morgan County and beyond, we're part of this neighborhood here. We're part of the bigger world too. And that's why making it all one family is important. And as a partnership, and as Blue Ridge, which is a cool thing to have here in West Virginia, there are people who are going to help us, like Miss Nikki, right? Like Miss Nikki.
And it's really cool too, because Blue Ridge it's like in our county. It's in our backyard. Like we have the center right here, which is so nice. Because, I mean, growing up, we had to travel to take classes at any colleges. So that's really cool that we have it right here.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, this isn't on my questions that I sent you, Nikki, but I'm kind of wondering, at Blue Ridge, can you help us, like, with the pandemic and all the virtual, remote, in classroom? Because I know I have a college student and her classes are all changed. And what are they doing at Blue Ridge in response to going to school in a safe way and all that?
A lot of the classes are online, just like everybody else. They've gone to remote learning. There are some that just cannot be done online. Some of our technical things, HVAC trainings, things like that. You can't do that online. We have an HVAC course, but that's social distance, and it's limited to the number of students so that they can be distanced. But they're doing a good job.
Sheima and I.
Say that again.
Sheima and I, when you said HVAC, I don't know what that is.
Like
I don't know what it is.
Heating. I don't know the exact. Now I'm on spot. It's heating, and those things.
Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
Yes, that's it.
All right. You know what? There was my memory. Did you just see my memory? My brain.
I saw the light bulb. Yeah.
Now I know. Sheima and I, neighbors. We work with a lot of social workers at the partnership, and they're always like, for 8 years now, they bounce around these letters, and I have no clue what they're talking about.
I know. Shame on me for doing that, because I'm usually very intentional about not bouncing around letters, because I don't like it.
But I did get to tour Blue Ridge in their training center in Berkeley County with some middle schoolers a couple years ago, and I do know there's that building where they have like how to climb a pole if you want to work for the power company. They have a lot of robotic things in there. There's like a place to learn how to cook. And I can imagine that for COVID, they are probably reducing the enrollment and maybe having smaller class sizes and things. But hands-on, you do kind of need to be there. Learn you got to have a pole to climb if you're going to practice that.
Yeah, exactly. Some things just cannot be done virtually.
It's a cool facility. It really is. And it's an asset to our community that it's developing here and giving, like you said, when, I'm 55, almost 56. And when I was growing up, like when I was a young mom, when I was 25, 26, Sheima's age, and Katie was a baby, there weren't those things here in Morgan County where you could go do that. And for me, my story, I went away and went to college and then came back. But it's neat that it's here and you're able to continue it. And I think it's valuable, and we'll be sure to add, if you could send us like how to connect with you where you are, Miss Nikki, and if anybody's looking at some of these resources. And grants. I love to hear grants. Grants.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this week's word, memory. Okay. And before we talk about brain exercises and memory, let's share a memory, each of us, about the Morgan County Partnership. And because we were the team, right? I've got pictures in my kitchen with the three of us. So I want to share. Can I go first?
Yeah.
All right. I want to share a memory. I got to think what I'm going to say right now. I got one right. But neighbors, Miss Nikki, Miss Sheima, and I, we were sort of the trio, Positive Actions trio, as we expanded this program into elementary school. And so we were just beginning to launch at Widmeyer. And this was fun, and you can probably find it on our YouTube channel, but we got to go in, and these girls, neighbors, I would say, hey, let's do a dance. And Sheima and Nikki never told me no. Let's do a dance. So school was about to start at Widmeyer, and we were just beginning, and we went in there, and And I'm like, let's get them do it. And they would stand up and do it with me. And I would remember the motions. I had to use my memory. But when we share things, and these were motions to a silly song, I am a positive. Do you remember the dance? Yeah. Let's see. Let's do some memory. I am a positive action kid. And then you dash. Wait. What's that called? A dash. That's how I am. That's how I live. Nikki remembers it. See, using memory, and music. Yeah, and you grab those values, you put them in your heart, and you throw out the negative, right? So Miss Nikki was a good sport, Miss Sheima too, and I always remember that. Let's get up and do a dance, and we got to do that for the teachers at Widmeyer. So that's how we used our values and share them with the community. And I'll tell you this. I miss the days I haven't been in the grocery store for a very long time. And when I am, I go very early in the morning when nobody's there because of the pandemic and health caution. But the kids in the community, after Widmeyer teachers did that, I'd see a kid in the frozen line at the grocery store, and they'd start doing the positive action song. So that's a great memory I have using my memory. All right, your turn. Tell me a memory.
Well, there's so many. I love them all because the creativity and the energy from you and Miss Sheima is awesome. And I love that. But you made me think of, when you talked about the song, I would do positive action at the middle school, and I would go into 6th grade and I would start and I'd introduce the program and be like, do you guys remember Mrs. Hott? And they're like, yeah. And then we talk a little bit about, and they'd start to remember things and say things. And then I joke and say, well, I don't have a song. And some of them would say, oh, good. And then others, before they left the class, they were singing the song, Miss Angie.
I know, right? Well, there's at some point they've got to be cool, and I'm practicing my coolness.
It was fun, just the mention of it, and it instantly came back to them. They all remembered it. Only a few would, start singing it. But,
right. That's cool.
And I'd love to watch the memories and the light bulbs kind of go off as we'd start talking about something else, and then they remember hearing it when they were at the intermediate school. And then we'd have discussions about things that you guys talked about. So that was pretty cool.
Well, that's neat because that's the thing about song, and that's an exercise for brain power. You put something to song and then you put your body to it. When you go up to be a cool middle schooler, it's still there,
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't forget it, right? But thank you, and Sheima, thank you both for dancing with me at Widmeyer that year.
It's fun.
A lot of fun. How about you, Miss Sheima? What's a memory
It is hard to pick just one. I have a lot of them. But one of my favorite, it's because this one I'm going to pick because shows the love and kindness and how the community brings people together, was the first time that I come in the office. I remember that a lot with Chris. And I was so scared because I was like, oh my goodness, my English. And I have been here in the States like 2 weeks. So yes, I was so scared. But everybody was so happy, so nice. Was Megan and Seamus there? It was beautiful, the community. And I feel like it was like, oh, they're so nice, like a family. You bring me here and you give me a big hug with your love and kindness. And you were like, tell me, Angie, oh, don't worry, I can show you everything. And you start to do the dance and you're like, we're going to do this in the classroom. And you were explaining to me, was Hannah too there? So that's a beautiful memory because shows how kindness and love. I was so scared, but with your kindness and love, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I feel good now. I feel perfect.
And that's like you said, these values that we bring in our community go across oceans, don't they? Mm-hmm. And like the little fellow on TED Talk, and I'm gonna share that in the lessons where he talks about we're all one family. And Sheima, you said it perfectly. I remember that day, and Chris Willard said, you want to go to Positive Actions with Angie? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come pick you up. I drive up to Sheima's, and then she gets in and comes to the school with me and just never stopped.
That was
beautiful. You're lucky, Miss Nikki. We were real lucky about that.
That's awesome. I know. And it's so weird. Like I don't necessarily remember the first day as vivid because now it's just Miss Sheima is always here. So she's just part of the family, and she's just always been here,
And what I've learned so much about, it's expanded my view of family and I just feel like, what we've got to share for not just, the values, but we're teaching them in English and in Spanish, and this year we made our videos. It's like, here, listen in English, and this is what it sounds like in Spanish. And it's like music. It just makes my heart feel full, and it brings it all back to what Sheima said. Love and kindness, and neighbors. From there, I want to say we're getting ready, so keep listening to talk about emotional wellness, and that's the next 9 weeks of school, all about love and kindness and that good old golden rule. And you'll be seeing some neat content that Sheima, who brings her wonderful video and technology, she teaches me all kinds of cool things, videos we've made, and she'll say, hey, look at this. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. How'd you do that? So knowledge and things, and I'm using my brain, my 50, almost 6-year-old brain, and it's just enhanced everything for us with positive actions. All 3 of you, 2 of you guys, I can't count.
Yes, you count.
Well, here's what we're going to do next week. We're going to get ready and wrap up, guys. So keep listening, because I mentioned those 11 exercises for your brain. So if you're a teen or a young adult going to Blue Ridge, there's some really cool, simple things to help you remember things. And like just going like this. And I actually told Danny Pooh that, because he has to do some exercises for neuropsychology and help things that help you bring back facts. So we're going to close with that. So 11 exercises that help boost your memory and your intellectual wellness. And then coming up too, we're going to have a segment about ACEs, which is another side of those memories. We got to talk about positive memories, but some of us carry with us adverse childhood experiences. So I'm going to announce right here, we're going to have Cynthia Robertson joining us from Morgan County Starting Points with some information if you're struggling with adverse childhood experience or memories that might be affecting your success in your path today, and resources to help with that. So keep listening to the podcast for that with Cynthia Robertson. And for now, we'll get ready to close with that soundbite. Are you ready, Miss Sheima?
Yes, I'm ready. That was awesome, neighbors, and thank you, Nikki, for joining us. And thank you, neighbors, for joining us. And hey, neighbors from 2 to 92, young and old, it's been fun podcasting with you today. We hope you find some positive actions out in the world this week. Bye.
Thanks, Sheima. Remember, parents, families, teachers, kids, students, you're not alone, right? We are not alone. We are all one family in our community. And each one of you're unique. You are important. Right? And you are wonderfully made. Thanks for joining us, neighbors, on today's podcast, Positive Actions for Intellectual Wellness, Boosting the Brain, and Using Your Memory. Miss Nikki, thanks for sharing some memories with us and coming back.
Thank you. Anytime.
After a long 2 months, bringing back memories it felt good. It's good for my heart.
Yes.
All right. So here comes our exercises. Let's listen to this. Cool.
So think about this. Nowadays, a lot of people are obsessed with a healthy lifestyle. They eat wholesome food, work out at the gym, and all that jazz. But they tend to forget that our brain needs exercise too, especially if you've started having memory lapses more often. What did I just say? Oh yeah. So if people keep saying you have the memory of a goldfish, don't fret. Just try these simple brain exercises to help you out. Number 1. Read books aloud. In 2017, the University of Waterloo conducted an experiment where they asked 95 participants to read silently, listen to someone else read, listen to a recording of themselves reading, and read out loud in real time. Later, participants were required to repeat words they read. It turned out the word recall was greatest in the group that read aloud to themselves. When you speak and hear yourself speaking at the same time, it helps the brain to store the information. You can practice this exercise with your friend or a child. Also, you can try to switch to audiobooks. Listening to them engages the imagination and brain regions in a different way than silent reading. Number 2. Switch hands during daily activities. Only 1% of the world doesn't have a dominant hand. Everyone else uses either the right one or the left one to read, cut food, paint, and so on. But if you try to switch to your other hand, it'll strengthen neural connections in your brain, making your mind and memory sharper. Use your opposite hand while brushing your teeth, cleaning, or washing the dishes. But hey, please don't try this exercise while you're driving or doing brain surgery. It might seem really hard the first time you do it, but it'll give your brain the perfect kind of stimulation by adjusting. Just keep practicing this exercise regularly. Number 3. Elevate your heart rate 3 times a week. Regular aerobic exercise may increase the size of the hippocampus. No, that's not the University of Hippo. It's the part of the brain responsible for transforming information into new memories. A study published in 2011 backs up the idea about the positive impact working out has on our memory. According to it, aerobic exercises that pump up your heart rate help the brain store long-term memories. But even if breaking a sweat at the gym isn't exactly your thing, you can just take a brisk walk for 20 minutes 3 times a week and still get the same effect. 4. Eat with chopsticks. It's one of the most effective ways to make your brain perform better. And here's how it works. Using chopsticks grows new dendrites, which are extensions of nerve cells. They help to transmit impulses from cell to cell. This means that these dendrites have a positive impact on communication between brain cells. What's more, involving the concentrated areas of nerve cells in your fingertips in this activity boosts the circulation in the brain. And as a bonus, switching to chopsticks improves your digestion and helps control calorie intake. Because it's so hard! Number 5. Wear earplugs. Blocking a major sensory route by wearing plugs helps revive the way our brain functions. Because when we go about our day, we only half listen, since we know what to expect. Experiencing the world without sound is a great booster for our cognitive abilities, including memory. You can try this technique, for example, during a family breakfast. But don't forget to warn your family about it, or they'll think you've decided to ignore them for no reason. Huh? Number 6. Create word pictures and puzzles. This is, hands down, the easiest exercise that you can perform anywhere, like when you're in public transport or waiting in line at a grocery store. Think of any word you like and visualize its spelling in your head. After you've done with this task, try to come up with any other words, as many as you can, that begin or end with the same 2 letters of your first word. This kind of mind game challenges your brain to stay active and sharp. 7. Do the 4-detail observation exercise. This is what scientists call passive memory training. You can practice it while you're out and about. All you have to do is observe any 4 details about someone you encountered during the day, and then recall them later. Let's say the barista who made your coffee. He or she could have had deep dark hair, a gold watch, a beauty spot on their right cheek, and a yellow t-shirt on. Start noticing these little details on just one person a day, and gradually increase that number or add more details to remember. The thing is, while we go about our day, we don't observe as much as we should, failing to receive information. Besides, being more observant of the people who surround you is a great social skill. Number 8. Blast some tunes. If you have to cram for an exam or read and remember some stuff that's related to your work, you better do it with pleasant background music. Listening to music helps our brain to retain information. It's best to make a playlist with some instrumental melodies you like, since songs with lyrics might hinder the process of remembering. If you're a real fan of music, consider learning to play an instrument. This kind of activity not only enhances your memory, but also helps to relieve stress and makes you smarter. Number 9. Clench your fist. It's as simple as that. In 2013, psychologists from Montclair State University carried out an experiment. Their findings suggest that clenching the right hand for 90 seconds helps in memory formation. If you do the same with your left hand, it can improve your memory recall. In the mentioned experiment, 50 adults were asked to remember words from a long list. The word recall was higher for those participants who carried out these movements. The researchers believe that clenching a fist triggers specific brain regions responsible for memory processing. Number 10. Doodle. Remember how you sometimes started to sketch during a school lesson? Turns out doing this helps you store the information you hear. And in 2009, researchers from Cambridge decided to prove it. A group of 40 participants were asked to listen to a recorded tape that described a short story about a party. Also, half of the participants were told to doodle whatever they wanted on a piece of paper while listening to the tape. After the listening was over, all 40 members of the experiment had to remember the names of people and places mentioned in the story. The doodlers recalled 29% more information than those who didn't draw. Researchers explain these results by the fact that when we listen to something, we tend to daydream, and daydreaming distracts us from grasping the information. A simple task like doodling is efficient enough to stop the daydreaming, making us more perceptive of audio information. Number 11. Have a good laugh. Haha, this is my favorite one. If you keep forgetting where you've put your keys or phone, maybe all you need is a short giggle sesh. At least this is what the results of a 2012 experiment carried out at Loma Linda University suggest. Researchers had two groups of participants with an average age of 74. The first group had to watch a 20-minute comedy. The other one, humorless video. Laughter helps lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone which can have a negative impact on the University of Hippocampus. And as I've already told you, this part of the brain plays an important role in the process of retaining information. That's why the first group in that experiment showed significantly better results in delayed recall and visual recognition later. So never miss an opportunity to giggle. If you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend. But hey, don't go forgetting that, thing I mentioned just yet. We have over 2,000 cool videos for you to check out. Just click on this left or right video and enjoy. Stay on the bright side of life.